Hello and welcome to First Geek 411. This episode week, we're chatting the Spoilercast for The Glass Onion. I'm your host, Cameron Franklin, and with me, as always, from the Great White North is Shanine. How are you doing?
Doing good.
And then from West Coast, Best Coast, Emma, how are you?
Weird noises this time because I was ready.
Hey.
Hey.
Everybody should go and check out episode 226 for references to what happened if I left them in. We'll see. Turns out I forgot to tell
Honestly,
people we were
please do.
unmuting. So,
I wouldn't mind.
but yeah, so this week we are doing a double. So we have our normal episode, and then we do have the spoiler cast. And so go check them both out. They'll both be posted all over the place. But yeah, so we are going to be chatting through The Glass Onion. This is the sequel to Knives Out. Obviously, spoiler warnings. We'll kind of chat through, do some impressions, and then give a formal all spoilers ahead. But just kind of as a be aware. And so just kind of as a general plot, Glass Onion takes place when Benoit Blanc from Knives Out receives an invitation to attend a murder mystery and comes to an island in Greece with a bunch of eccentric people. But wait, an actual murder occurs. And so things were not all as they seemed. And so, yeah, with that, without spoilers, what were your thoughts on The Glass Onion, a Knives Out story?
Very enjoyable. I quite liked it. I'm glad that these kinds of mystery detective films, movies, shows are coming back. Because they had a little bit of a thing with like Agatha Christie and Clue in the 90s, 80s and 90s or whatever, and then fell off. And I'm glad they're becoming more of a thing again, but in like a modern light. And it was a lot of fun and very enjoyable and lighthearted. Lighthearted in the sense of like fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people do die, so, but in a exciting Sherlock-esque vibe.
Yeah, I agree. It was enjoyable. A little goofy and over the top, which is good for the drama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, overall just enjoyable and fun.
For me, Knives Out is one of my favorite movies. And so I was very excited that we were getting a sequel, let alone one that kind of carried so much of the same DNA as that movie. And I was very excited about this going in. It was kind of in the camp for me of where I would put something like I'm Ready to Be Hurt this Sunday, but The Last of Us TV show, where like I was just so like hopeful going into it that it was going to kind of carry on what was so great about the first one, and it really did. There's obviously some differences in terms of the setting and situations, which was very intentional, but I really loved it and was very happy to see how they carried it on. But yeah, let's get into full spoilers here. Again, if you somehow made it this far, glad you're here. You definitely need to go watch Knives Out, currently available on Netflix. But yeah, we are now going into full spoilers, and just be aware. Again, definitely recommend go watch the movie.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So let's chat about it. What was everyone's like favorite part of the movie? And your least favorite part? Like we can do.
I think my favorite part was towards the end when she's breaking all of the glass statues, whatever, just because it looks so cathartic. Like, just having a bad day, go to a rage room and,
Yeah.
you know,
Start smashing
this
stuff.
this billionaire guy screwed you over, and you know all of this other stuff. Break all of his priceless glass statues. Um, you know, might as well. Um, least favorite part. I kind of wish they'd spent. Like, it kind of felt like the whole like flashback reveal of who done it thing took up more space. No, than it should have. Like, it felt like 50-50 of like what happened versus like the flashback. And I feel like there could have been more what happened time for the audience to try and guess who actually did it before it was revealed of who did it. But that's more just a nitpicky thing. It's a very cheesy, in a good way, movie.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I quite enjoyed it.
I don't know what my favorite part was. I think just the general end, Benoit Blanc being kind of like that Sherlock moment, like, I knew what was going on the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know, classic mystery stuff, and it's fun. I like it. Least favorite is also hard, but I think it was probably all the COVID references. Not that they were bad, just that I think it's going to make this movie age like really quickly.
Yeah.
And they don't really explain what like the gun mouth disinfectant thing is.
Which I kind of liked. I like that it's just like, what is this? You're good.
But then like they could have just left it at that and not really had any others. But totally agree.
I'll say for me, my favorite part, I love how quickly Benoit Blanc solves the murder mystery.
Yes.
That it's supposed to be this like really intense thing that's like supposed to take the whole weekend, and he solves it in the first like 20 minutes.
Oh, you stole the priceless gem from her, so she got revenge.
Yeah, I just love that. And like just like that whole reveal of like that's one of the things I really like about these movies as a whole, is that like as like disarming as Benoit Blanc is as a character, like he's not this like bumbling sleuth. Like he is a great detective. And I just kind of like that reminder that like this was supposed to be something that was going to be a challenge, and he's got it so fast. Like,
and then you have the great comparison at the end of the movie where he's like, You idiot! You stole the idea from me for the actual murder.
Yes, the only good thing you've had, or only good thought you've had.
The only good thought you've had this entire time is an idea you stole from me.
Yeah.
It's like you put a gun on the table and turn the lights off. Lo and behold.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. I'll say kind of least favorite part. I'm kind of in a similar boat to Emma. I do think the flashback reveal about Andy is a bit long. Again, that's very nitpicky. But it kind of had some similar vibes to The Last of Us Part 2, where like you get to like the climax of it and then it jumps back and you kind of watch through a lot more building action. And I think it's very well done. But it does feel a little long. And then in chat, Chunk says Daniel Craig playing Among Us. I loved that, as well as the references to Clue being a dumb game.
Yep.
Like, I loved that they like worked those in. Like, that's like the type of like, I guess you could say like fourth wall breaking, but like everybody knows that this movie is kind of like Clue. Like, let's
That's what
acknowledge
makes
it.
fun.
Let's make a joke about it. And, but yeah, I really liked that. I thought it was a fun way of like acknowledging the comparison in a nice and goofy way. So in this, we get no returning characters other than
from
Benoit Blanc.
Yeah.
Which, how did y'all feel about that? Did that surprise you?
Not really. I kind of like it because it's almost like like an MCU type thing, but you only get one returning face. So there's only one person's storyline you have to remember, or like information about one character that you have to retain, if at all. And it's kind of fun to get different, unique, sort of out there characters, because the characters in the first one were also pretty, not crazy in the sense of like mentally unstable, but like crazy in the just unique. You have very unique characters in the first one, and then you get different unique characters in this one. So it's just fun to see one character who stays the same interact with different kinds of people, especially when you have this Sherlock type, famous detective who's really good at his job, but he's his own unique Sherlock type. Like, he's not Sherlock, but he's his own really good detective, and just interacting with different weirdos.
Don't think I was surprised by it. Like, it just felt right, like in that mystery genre, like Sherlock or Poirot, like going around solving the mysteries.
Yeah.
I'll say for me, I was shocked we got no acknowledgement of the first movie. Not even it's not even like referenced as a previous case or anything like that, which I do kind of like, because it's like Benoit's out just like doing his own thing. Like, that is just a case for him. Like, it's not like even when Catherine Hahn's character brings up like, oh, you solved that one case. It's not a case we know anything about. Like, there's no references to that in the other movie. There's none of that. And I think that that's cool. And it's very much builds this world that he's supposed to be this great detective going and doing all of these things. And, but yeah, I was a little sad. I really liked Marta from the first movie. And so I really hoped that she would show up or be referenced or something. Or have a book from the publishing, like from the author of the in the first movie or something like that. I would have loved something like that, but
it would be fun to see like a sequel where they sort of mix and match characters from previous movies, and like, put 2 of the characters from Knives Out in a scenario with 3 of the characters from Glass Onion. And they're all people that he's interacted with before.
Yep.
But suddenly it's a new mystery where he's like, but you were innocent on the last one.
Yeah. Specifically with that, I think it'd be cool to see Helen become Benoit's partner.
Yeah.
And have,
I haven't seen the first one in a while, so I don't remember much, but
yeah, like, I mean, she was from the twin from this one that's playing Andy throughout. I think it would be cool to have her character like be involved again. Like, she proved that she's like pretty good at this, and like to the point that like Benoit acknowledges it. And I think it would be really cool to see her show up again as
more often.
Yes,
Terrible
exactly.
Advice. Terrible advice.
Terrible advice.
But
But yeah, I think that would be a super cool tie-in, and that's like I think that's like relatively free. Like, just in terms of the current character development, to have her show up in some capacity and assist, and kind of like, it'd be cool to like have her learn the ropes. I know that Ryan Johnson did say that he did not originally want this movie to be subtitled a Knives Out story or Knives Out mystery. He wanted it to just be called Glass Onion. And so I'm curious what that means for the next one. Like, are we going to kind of see him attempt that same thing where he doesn't want to put a Knives Out mystery in the title? Or will we see it actually like formally Knives Out 2? I don't know. But as we're building this universe of interesting characters, it seems like at some point they need to overlap. Like, especially with this one where we got to meet a lot of famous people. Like, it seems like people are going to just know that they exist in this world. And so, yeah. But on those characters, who was your favorite of the new characters? We're going to not allow Benoit as in this. But who was one of your favorite new characters? Who was your least favorite? And why for both of those?
I couldn't stop seeing Drax. I just have to say. He's just nothing but Drax in my head because his character in this movie is a very similar type character of kind of. I mean, Drax is very literal and doesn't understand social cues, and this guy's very much like, not that he understands social cues or whatever, but kind of dumb, but not totally dumb. But I liked that about the character. Like, I liked that he still gave off, like, I couldn't stop seeing Drax, but even though I couldn't stop seeing Drax, it kind of worked with his character. Like, he's still kind of, that he's smart enough to figure things out, but not the smartest in the room. Least favorite character. I think the Whiskey. That's her name.
Mm-hmm.
Whiskey reminds me way too much of people in LA. I'm just gonna say it. Too much of an LA type. So I was just like, yeah, it's another LA person. Big whoop. Moving on.
Yeah.
So that's about that.
Sheen, what'd you think?
I loved that my opinion of most of the characters changed so drastically.
I agree.
Throughout the story. Like, there was my first impression of them was like, no, absolutely not. And then I ended up like being able to empathize with them by the end. And some the complete opposite, like, oh man, I really like you. And then by the end, I'm like, you should be smarter than this.
You are the problem.
I don't know. I really enjoyed Birdie. Like, I love Kate Hudson, and like, Sweet Birdie was just so dumb. And I don't know. I feel like if she had not come to fame and had all of that go to her head and have like so much power that she could abuse and hurt people with, she would have just been like a really fun, sweet person. I loved that she was just like finding joy in things and like spinning around in her fancy dress and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you have fun, Birdie. Yeah. Just go for it.
You clearly are being tricked here by Miles Braun, but we're just gonna keep doing it. Like, this is clearly planned, but
yeah,
clearly, very much so.
And then least favorite is probably Lionel. Again, love Leslie Odom Jr. Lionel was horrible. Like, you are a scientist. You are signing off on sciencey things that you know are bad. Like, maybe don't be so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the hippie guy who just kind of shows up every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like, has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
See, like,
Oh,
where I had an issue with the squirrel in God of War,
Uh-huh.
I have no issue here.
No
Because
notes
he's
for Daryl.
totally- No notes, because he's just kind of there, and he's very clearly, like, comedic relief that just shows up and is like, oh, don't, like they say at the beginning of the movie, don't mind
Yeah,
him.
he's not a part of
Like,
this.
He's not a part of this. And I'm like, okay, great.
The most
let's
Schrodinger's gun comment
Like,
ever.
That tells me right
Yeah.
away. Don't worry about him. He's just here. He has nothing to do with it. Great. And then he shows up a couple more times. Very much comedic relief. That's
Yeah.
great. That's fine. I love that guy. Because I was told not to worry about him, so I didn't.
I loved it too, but I did spend the whole time worrying
Yeah.
about him. I'm like, all right, how is he involved?
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
honestly,
sus.
yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah,
biggest
Mark,
twist
never
here
had
is that Daryl had nothing to do with the movie.
Yes.
Like, that is the biggest twist.
But they tell you that at the beginning.
I mean,
You
Worry
believe
about him.
yeah.
He has nothing to do with this.
you
Yeah.
trust him.
Yeah, that's. I feel like Shanine and I came out of that from the same place of like, oh, he has nothing to do with this. He clearly has something to do with this. Like, and I was like, oh, he's the hitman.
I'm just too
He's the
trusting.
he's the person that
He's
like
the hired hitman.
Miles hired or whatever. Like, I was like, he clearly has something to do with this. Nope, he's just here, just hanging out. So for me, favorite characters, man, this is like, they're kind of like tied together of like, I both love and hate Miles Braun and Duke Cody. Like, A plus masterclass, well played from both of y'all. These are kind of like in that camp of like characters that I hate because they're acted so well. Yeah, there were just like multiple times where like I just wanted to slap both or either of them in the face, which obviously would not have gone well with Dave. But yeah, masterclass is there. And then like actually like least favorite, it's hard to say. I do come at this with a similar like place that Shanine came from, where like for me, where like for you it was Lionel, for me it's Claire. Like, Claire is the governor of Connecticut running for United States Senate, and it's just like, you are making this decision that you fully believe will lead to people being killed.
Yep.
And like, I mean, obviously, you know, there's a commentary there on politics, but like, but it was just like one of those things that I was just like, that it's like that, and like her and Lionel kind of for those similar reasons both felt pretty unredeemable to me. Like, they definitely have their moments like later on where they kind of, it's like, oh, we are going to actually stand up, but it's only after Helen has done all of this stuff. Like, they are the ones that like you would kind of expect to be the voice of reason, but no, they're the ones that are just as done of it, as just as done and bad at it as everyone else. And so, but again, still well acted. Shout out to Catherine Hahn. But like, I really struggled to like Claire, especially towards the end of the movie. In chat, Chunk says Miles was his favorite and Birdie was his least favorite. I kind of feel like Birdie just needs a hug. Like, there just needs like, and maybe some therapy. I think they all could use some therapy. But like,
Everyone there could use some therapy, you know.
Yeah. Let's get into favorite quotes. Were there any quotes from the movie that you really loved or really stuck out to you? I can go and drop in our Discord chat a list of the top 10 quotes if y'all would like to look at that and reference them.
I'm thinking
on like IMDb
yes.
scrolling.
Yes.
But the one that I mentioned earlier from the end, where he's just like, "You stole my own idea from me." Like, I quite enjoyed that one. It definitely made me laugh. Where are you? Are you posting this in the general or?
Oh, it's in the podcast host chat.
Great.
I'll say for me, like when it comes to like actual quotes that stick with me, there's when Benoit is talking to Birdie and he says, "It's a dangerous thing to mistake speaking without thought for speaking the truth."
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like that is something that I am going to like carry with me and I'm going to say. Like it might not be something I say out loud, but it is definitely going to be something that is going to kind of, I could definitely see becoming like this internal mantra as I try to like think through what I say. The other thing that I fully intend on saying sarcastically and then becoming a permanent part of my vernacular is I'm very bad at dumb things.
Yes.
I fully anticipate saying that when people are like, any time that's remotely relevant, I fully anticipate saying I'm very bad at dumb things.
I am not Batman.
I am not Batman. That was another fun one.
Yeah.
I am not Batman.
This can't Shazam, it's a lamp.
This can't. That was a good one too. Like shout out, that's a great Birdie line.
Yeah.
Of like,
I saw you go in the engine room. You're the imposter. We all know it.
Yeah.
But I agree with you there, Cameron. I'm very bad at dumb things. This is a great line. I love how he actually uses, like, because there's the whole thing where Miles, like, uses long words that don't actually exist.
Mm-hmm.
And then Beno, like, actually uses long words that do exist and uses them appropriately. I love that comparison. So, like, nobody tried to kill you, you vainglorious buffoon.
Yes.
I quite liked that.
Also, I did love the payoff of the spear gun. So, like, scrolling through some other ones, when they figure out the puzzle, and Duke says, "Ma, where's my spear gun I got to pack?" I love that he actually packed a spear gun and brought it with him. Like, and like, then like it shows up again. Like, that was one of those things that I was like, I had missed that line the first time I watched it. And I was like, where did this spear gun come from? And then sure enough, it's referenced earlier in the film. And I was like, that's great. A plus. Well done. Janine, did you have any other quotes?
Have anything to add, but I do second the speaking the truth line.
Yeah.
Like that was definitely a mic drop moment. Good.
Mm-hmm. What did y'all think of the glass onion metaphor?
I didn't entirely catch that there was a metaphor, just a rich guy who built a glass building that looked like an onion. In reference to the Beatles song. That's the only thing I got out of it. Because in my head I was like, yeah, that tracks. A rich guy would do that.
It's like, that does seem like something completely ridiculous that...
Yeah, a rich person would
that
do.
a rich person would do.
Yeah.
Shane, what'd you think?
For someone who it's been a little while since they've watched it and have been watching a lot of things since then, what is the glass onion metaphor?
So in terms of the reveal, the metaphor is that Miles is the murderer. It's basically the idea that something can look really complicated, but in the end it's glass and you can see right through it. Of Miles is obviously the murderer, but even Benoit doesn't want to look at the obvious answer because he wants to peel back all the layers. He wants this very dense thing. But sometimes it's just so upfront that it's obvious. And so like this is the line that comes up of it's so stupid, and then Birdie says it's so stupid it's brilliant. Then Benoit goes, no, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing of like they're like Miles gets all this credit as this brilliant person, but he doesn't do anything. He's just dumb and took advantage. And so that's the idea of the metaphor.
I like it. And I feel like it also extends to just like the structure of the movie as well. Like watching it, I'm like, well, it's obviously Miles, but it obviously can't be Miles.
It's got to be the person you
It
most
has to be the
medium
person I most
expect.
medium expect.
Yes.
So me trying to figure out the whole time who I most medium suspect, and it was just the most obvious one the whole time.
Mm-hmm. I meant to ask this after we'd favorite characters, but Chunk just posted in chat. I loved the solving of the puzzle box. Then Andy, or we found out later it's Helen, just smashes it open. Similarly, can we all agree that Ma is the Watson's wife of this one? That if anyone deserves a like spin-off movie, it's Ma. And I love that she just solves everything. And it's the like, again, it even kind of
100%.
ties in with the glass onion metaphor that this isn't a complicated thing. It is just something that like you have to think a certain way. And I really loved that too. Like shout out to the puzzle box. Like that was super cool.
I need a Ma in my life.
Yes.
I have a mom. I just need specifically a Ma or a Miss Hudson in my life.
From one of the big twists that we see is the glass handoff. Did y'all catch it the first time that Miles hands his glass to Duke?
Caught it so well that I actually had to go back and double verify that I had seen what I had seen before whatever his name is died. I was like, wait, that's not right. So I caught it, but like I was quite proud of myself for that one, but I didn't fully process it. I saw it but didn't process it until like a good 15 seconds later, and I had to go back. But yes, I did.
Yep.
Completely missed it.
Yeah.
100%. So much that like having them show it, I was like, did they even move in that way the first time? Like, are you sure?
Yeah. So for me, I caught it. I saw the handoff, but like it didn't register. I was like, oh, that's weird. But like I didn't think anything of it. And then when they replayed it differently, I was like, wait, that's not what happened. He clearly handed it off the first time.
Yeah.
But then like I almost like played myself in the sense of like, but did I just see it wrong? Because like we didn't rewind, and I was like, did I make that up? And like it really like kind of tying in with the point that they're making, it very much hit the like remembering what you're told kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was like it definitely like I was 100% sure I saw the handoff, but they definitely got me questioning it by the time that they were showing the flashbacks.
Yeah, no, I went back and watched it a second time, and then the moment he died and Miles was like, he was killed by someone else, like someone tried to poison me or whatever, I was just like, Miles. Miles is the killer. You're trying to cover your tracks.
Because the Duke don't dance with pineapple.
Yeah. So I think I kind of benefited from the fact that I went back a second time, even before Duke died, to like verify that I saw what I saw. But it was still fun.
Yeah. And then I believe, based on what we've shared, we've all seen the first Knives Out. How do you think this compared to the first one?
I would have to watch the first one again to make any solid comparison, because I saw it back when it was on Netflix after it came out. And I know that I liked it and enjoyed it, but I don't remember enough to make a solid comparison. But I thought this one was equally fun from what I do remember.
I think I found this one more predictable, which like might have been on purpose with the whole glass onion thing, but I was definitely more like shocked at the Knives Out conclusion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, if I had to go watch one of them again, it would be the first Knives Out. I think that's definitely the one that is going to kind of be like my touch point for this whole series. But I could definitely see this becoming the type of thing, and where almost like Lord of the Rings, it's not about watching one or the other. It becomes the marathon of like they're just so fun and easy to put on and easy to watch that I could very much see this being the like, oh, lazy Saturday, what are we doing? Whatever. And then we're going to have all of the Knives Out movies on in the background and just kind of watch through them. I could definitely see that happening. And in chat, Chunk says he watched Knives Out right after watching Glass Onion and thought they were pretty equal. I do 100% agree. I think that they both have their pros and cons. Mostly pros, of course. But like when you compare them to each other, like I really liked the smaller scale of the first Knives Out movie. I like that it's very much confined in the house for most of the film, which Rian Johnson specifically did the opposite for this one, like intentional choice to do this. And so I liked that, but I can also see how other people would be on the other side. And it's just like, it's kind of just whichever one of those like matches up more, or like, do you have family drama or do you have friend drama? Which one do you want to live vicariously through these characters? And so, yeah, I definitely enjoy both. Would again highly recommend either to anyone. And so, then I guess second to last question. Are there any other themes, religious or otherwise, that stood out to you?
I feel like in this case it goes back to the quote about the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's I don't remember what the whole saying is, but um it's a dangerous thing to mistake speaking without thought for speaking the truth. And I feel like it's easy to kind of see that at times with extreme groups, if you will, who end up causing trauma for some people, or any other scenario, because they're almost like nitpicking things for their own gain or personal belief or whatever, rather than like actually speaking the truth. So I think there can easily be comparisons drawn between that moment and just how some people choose to go about representing their faith, if you will. And not necessarily that those people are bad, but just like maybe they don't realize that they are doing something hurtful.
One of the themes that kind of stood out to me was like the idea of prophets, and this of course ties in with the quote. but like this even hits on like the idea of like Miles Braun and like the idea of like the fruit of like their teaching, more or less, of like Miles does literally nothing productive. It's all like, it's all Lionel doing the science stuff. It's Andy's idea. Like Miles doesn't actually like produce anything good. And that was something that I think really ties in with like that character arc. And I think it's like, that's a good thought. And it's a good, this kind of ties in with the Miles making up fake words too. I think a lot of times, or like one of my favorite things, and I have no clue how true it is, but there's like the example of like, you take two teachers, give them random students, tell one teacher they're teaching the gifted class, and tell the other teacher they're teaching the special needs class, or the kids that need extra help class, and you'll see their grades start to differ. And the teacher that like the gifted class will start performing better than the other one, even though they're just a random selection of kids. And I think that sometimes, like with this, we can kind of get that theme of like, oh, we're told we're supposed to look up to these people and they're supposed to be smart, but really they're not. We really have to look at them and like really look at what they're doing to find out for sure what is true and what isn't. And that, of course, then like even more ties in with social media, of like, you can't just judge somebody by what's happening on social media. There's a lot more, or you can't be like, oh, their life's so great, look at what they're posting. You don't know what's going on. You don't know all the other stuff. But like, that was kind of one of the big themes that I connected with throughout the film.
Yeah, I think one of the themes that stood out to me was a very like, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Like they're all very wrapped up in what they have and needing to keep it, willing to kill people to keep it, and just give up like any sense of morality in order to keep their position or their possessions or whatever. And then, yeah, you see Benoit and Helen who just want the truth. And that's the thing that they're willing to go to extreme lengths for.
Final question is, what are your final thoughts as we wrap up our spoiler cast? Anything that you haven't had a chance to say?
8 out of 10 would watch again.
Watching the Mona Lisa burn hurt me a little inside a lot. But enjoyable. The Mona Lisa burning was good for the themes, good for the snappy comebacks.
Yeah.
Definitely.
This is exactly the kind of movie I would love to work on.
For me, my final thought is go watch some of the stuff with Rian Johnson talking about this film. Like go watch like his breakdowns and like him talking about it. It's so interesting how intentional everything is, which I mean, you know, is how most movies work. People are intentionally doing things, but like hearing him like go through and like in the scene on the dock, everyone's mask is about their character and it's supposed to reveal who they are based on their mask. And it's so interesting to go hear him talk about that. You get stuff like the breaking of the glass things at the end is the exact disruptor speech, where it's breaking something that no one cares about, that they'd rather see broken, all the way up to breaking the thing that no one wants to see broken. Like there's like so many like of those intentional details that are in the movie, and it's so cool to hear like the people that were involved talk about all of them, especially when it's supposed to be a mystery and they're trying to like find that balance between what can they reveal versus what do they need to hide. But yeah, go check out that stuff. Highly recommend. Some A+ content there. With that, we will wrap up our spoiler cast of The Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. I did say a Knives Out story earlier, but
Close enough.
Close enough. And so for announcements on January 26th, we are going to be doing our January book club on Vicious by V.E. Schwab. And so make sure to be reading, come back. Highly recommend the book from about the first half that I've read so far. And so very much looking forward to that conversation. We are First Geek 411. You can find us on social media, join our Discord server, or shoot us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. You can find us on our Redbubble store as well, and watch live on Twitch, and find the videos over on YouTube where you can like, comment, and subscribe. And then you can also find us on our personal social media. Mine is Himar Whittle.
Mine is I am not prepared with an eye.
I'm the Hoot and Howl on Twitter and Hoot and Howl Tales, TALES on Instagram.
And it's been a great week.
Funk for funk.
Read a book.
I love you.